Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, Exodus chapter 38. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, or if you have any questions, you can email me at godsohman@gmail.com. Exodus 38 and verse 1. And he made an altar of burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. And it was foursquare, and 3 cubits on the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. And the horns were the same, and he overlaid it with brass. Now it's interesting that it says brass. If you remember from all the previous chapters, everything else was made of gold. All the furniture was made of gold. Well, the reason why it's made of brass is because if they made it with gold, everything this is basically there to burn all the offering. Gold's gonna melt, so it's gotta be brass. This is a bronze altar. A bronze altar for burnt offerings stood in the outer court lighted with its poles removed, and a hallowed box overlaid with bronze measuring 4.5 feet high and 7.5 feet long wide. And it was a bronze grating on top and the sides of the altar. This had to be done with brass because if it was done with gold it would melt. This is literally there to burn all the different offerings, so it's always going to have a fire inside of it. And again, this, if you look online what it looks like, nobody really knows, but here's another artist rendition of what it might look like. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, the shovels, the basins, and all the fish hooks and their fry pans. All the vessels thereof he made of brass. So again, he has all these different pieces on the bottom there to help with the burnt offerings. And then basically their job was to go in there and burn these offerings. Some of the offerings were completely burnt, all of it. Some of the offerings, a portion of it got burnt, and the other portion was so that the priest could eat. And he made of the altar a brazen grate network under the compass thereof, beneath it to the midst of it. So they made this little grating system so that you could pull it out and clean it. It was kind of like a barbecue grill type of a thing. And he cast 4 rings at the 4 ends of the grate of brass to be placed for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass. Again, this is the way to carry them. And he put the staves into the rings of the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass, the looking glass of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So the laver is a big bronze bowl that's used to clean yourself before you go into the sanctuary, before you go into the tabernacle. And I find it really interesting that this big bowl of brass was made by the looking glass of the women assembling. So the mirrors they would look into to make them, so they could see how pretty they were. The women donated this to the tabernacle to be used for the laver. I guess these women thought that, glorifying God is better than the way I look. So these mirrors that they had, this looking glass, is what made this laver. And the laver was basically this big old bowl that the priests and everybody else would clean themselves with before they'd go into the tabernacle. And again, nobody knows what it looks like. There's just a couple of different renditions of what it might look like. And so you walk into the tabernacle there on the bottom left, and the first thing you do is you get your little burnt offering. The next thing you do is you go over to this laver and you clean yourself. You have to be clean before you go into the tabernacle. I got a question for you guys. You can comment below. How many times have you went to pray and realized you're just so dirty? You have to clean yourself before you talk to God. Whenever I talk to God, I ask Him to forgive me of my sins first, because for some reason I feel that by asking Him to forgive me of my sins, I feel a little bit cleaner, even though no matter what I do, I can never, equal what, be clean enough for God. But it just makes me feel better, I guess. So you walk into the tabernacle, you get your burnt offering, then you go over to the laver and you clean yourself. This laver was set there, you do the altar, you go to the laver, then you can go inside. And it's set there so you can clean yourself so you can be presentable to come into the tabernacle. And he made the court in the southern side southward of the hangings of the court with fine twin linen and 100 cubits. And their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. So they're making the outside of the wall. And again, nobody really knows what this looks like. All we know is it had silver on top and silver on the bottom. It had this cloth mesh, and it had these little strings that held it in place made out of goat's hair. And like I said, a lot of different people don't exactly know what it looks like. There's a bunch of different renditions of what it might look like. But we know these little things on the side are made of goat hair. And then basically these pillars came down. They had a brazen socket on the bottom, and then that actually went into a silver socket below that, and they had brass pins to hold it in place. And on the northern side of the hangings were 100 cubits, and their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side there were hangings of 50 cubits, and the pillars 10, and their sockets 10, and the hooks of the pillars of the fillets were silver. So the two sides, the longer sides, are going to be 100 cubits, or about 150 feet. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, and their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. The east side is where your gate's going to be, so you can actually enter the tabernacle. And for the other side of the court gate, on this hand and that hand, were hangings of 15 cubits, and their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And all the hangings of the court round about were of fine twisted linen. For the sockets of the pillars were of brass, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were fitted with silver. And the hangings for the gate of the court was of needlework, of blue and purple and scarlet, and of fine twined linen, and 20 cubits with the length of the height of the breadth of 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. So if you look at this east side here, that's where the gate's going to be, that you can actually walk inside. And again, nobody really knows what it looks like. But think about this. You had to go through this gate to enter where God was. Then you had to go in there and you had to make your sacrifice. You had to clean yourself. You had to go inside the tabernacle. And the pillars were of 4, and their sockets of brass 4. Their hooks of silver, and the overlayings of their chapiters, and their fillets of silver. And of the pins of the tabernacle, and of the courts round about were of brass. And the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted, according to the commandments of Moses, for the services of the Levites, by the hand of Itamar, the son of Aaron the priest, and Bezalel, the son of Uri, and the son of Hur, and the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Bezalel is this guy that God gave a gift to be able to make all these amazing items, all the furniture of the tabernacle. And with him was Aholiab. Isn't it great that you always have somebody that's got your back? You guys can comment below. You ever had a job where you just knew if you were working with this one person, your day's going to be better? And I'm sure we've all had this person that we didn't want to see when we went to work. But it's always great to have somebody that has your back, that's somebody you enjoy working with. And in this chapter right here, we're talking about all these amazing things of the tabernacle. And this is, and with him was Aholiab. This was a lot of work. And he had this person he could trust, he could count on, that had his back, that was his sidekick, that he actually enjoyed working with. Chapter 38:23. And with him was Aholiab, the son of whatever his dad's name was, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer of blue, and a purple, and a scarlet, and fine linen, and all the gold that was occupied for the work of the holy place. Even the gold of the offering was 20 and 9 talents. That's 2,175 pounds of gold, and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. Now, when I did the last chapter, somebody said, a talent, 75 pounds. I wonder how much that would be worth. So this right here says all the gold in the tabernacle was 20 and 9 talents, or 2,175 pounds. So I checked online. It says, some authorities say that a typical talent weighed about 33 kilograms, or 75 pounds, varying from 20 to 40 kilograms. In June of 2018, the international price of gold was around $41,155.69 per kilogram. 1 gram costed about $38. At this price, a talent would be worth about $1,400,116.57. So as of 11/27 of 2019, a kilo was about $48,000. So a talent would be about $1,584,000. So the tabernacle had about $46 million worth of just gold. And the silver of them that were numbered in the congregation was 100 talents, or 750 pounds, or 7,500 pounds, and 1,703 score and 15 shekels after the shekels of the sanctuary. So I went online. The average cost is about $38. At this price, a talent would be worth about $1,400,000. $1,400,116.57. As of February 2016, the price of silver would be about $15 per troy ounce, or 50 cents per gram. So a talent of silver would be worth about $16,500. And as of 11/21/2019, a kilo of silver was about 550. So a talent is about 18,150. So the tabernacle would have about $1,815,000 worth of silver. And a bekah for every man, that is half a shekel, which is about $5 now. After the shekel of the sanctuary, for every man that went out to be numbered, from 20 years older and upward, for 600,000, 3,550 men. So about $3 million were counted for all the men of this time right now. And this says you only got to pay about $5 for anybody that's 20 years or older. And I think it'd be pretty easy for any man that's 20 years old to gain $5. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast as sockets for the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents. A talent for a socket, or about 18,000 each, and of the 1,770 and 5 shekels he made hooks for the pillars and overlaid the chapiters and filleted them. So he took the walls and he put them in these little sockets in the bottom of silver, so they had silver on top and silver on the bottom, and they put these little sockets to keep them in place. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, or about 5,250 pounds, and 2,400 shekels, about $6,000. And there he made a sockets to the door, the tabernacle of the congregation, of the brazen altar, and of the brazen gate for it all, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Well, guys, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys comment. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. If you haven't liked the video, please do so as well. And if you think somebody would enjoy this, go ahead and share it with them. I'm going to put a couple videos on the screen there. Bottom right is going to be the Exodus Bible study. The top left is going to be Genesis Bible study. And then the bottom left is going to be a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Usually that's the chapter beforehand, but we'll see what happens. Guys, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. Have yourself a great day.